All right, Deputy, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear.
All right, I'm ready if you are.
We are ready, sir.
All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Marcus Thorpe, and we are live here this morning via YouTube. Today's date is approximately 11 a.m., and today's date is February 3rd of 2024. Again, my name is Judge Marcus Thorpe, and I am one of the Associate Magistrate Court judges here presiding over first appearance this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are having trouble hearing me, please let me know because there are a few things that we will need to go over prior to and during your calendar. As we are going through these things this morning, please listen carefully as it will help you better understand the nature and purpose of today's proceeding. First, let me say, I am not here to try your case or to take a plea or have any legal discussion with you about the specific facts of your case. Let me be clear about that, ladies and gentlemen. This is your first appearance. You are here for me to advise you of what you're charged with and what your bond is. And so you don't want to talk to me because this is being recorded and there are witnesses all around you about why you believe you're not guilty of what you've been charged with or any other thing that you believe that will help your case. And I'm not here, as I said, to take a plea. Now, the first purpose of this hearing, as I said, is to inform you of those charges, to advise you of certain rights, to set bond, to also schedule a preliminary hearing if you so choose, and then lastly, to determine whether you require the assistance of an attorney. Now, as we go through first appearance this morning, you do have rights. You have the right to remain silent. So please do not again attempt to tell me specifics about your case or any legal defense you may have. You also, during this proceedings, have the following rights. That being the presumption of innocence, you have the right to an indictment by grand jury or felony by accusation if it's a misdemeanor. You have the right to a speedy and public trial by jury. You have the right to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your behalf, to see, hear, and question witnesses who are called to testify against you. You have the right to testify on your own behalf or offer evidence in your own defense. And finally, you have the right to an attorney to represent you. And if you cannot afford an attorney, one can be appointed to represent you if you qualify. Now, in addition to talking to you about your charges, as I said, I'm going to speak to you about bond. Some of you will be allowed to post unrestricted bonds for your release from jail pending the prosecution of your case. And there are three ways that you can post your bond. You can do it by cash, using a commercial bonding company, or by property. If you post a cash bond, then someone or either yourself will bring to the sheriff's office the full amount of the bond in cash together with any mandated fees the sheriff's office charges, and they will hold it until your case is closed, at which time your money will be returned to you. And as an example, then, if I tell you you're charged with battery this morning and I say your bond is $6,000 and you want to pay cash, either you or someone you know would bring $6,000 plus those fees to the sheriff, and the sheriff would hold it till your case is closed. Now, if you want to use a commercial bonding company because you do not have the full amount in cash, you could use a bonding company. Now, if you use a bonding company, that means you don't have to have the full amount, but you would only need anywhere from 12 to 15% of the bond for their service. The difference between a bonding company, however, is that 12 to 15% that you pay, you do not get it back. So again, if your bond is $6,000 and you have 12 to 15%, that means you're roughly going to pay anywhere from about $750. You'll pay that to the bonding company. They will help you get released, but you do not get that money back. Now, the last way to make bond is through what is called a property bond, as long as you or someone you know has equity in their property of at least 3 times the bond amount. So again, if your bond is $6,000, you or someone you know would have to have a deed that has at least $18,000 because that is 3 times the amount in the property that they own. And then they would bring that deed down to the sheriff's office for them to hold it until your case is closed. Now, in addition to your bond, I'm going to talk to you all about special conditions. Some of you will have additional special conditions that prohibit you from contacting people or going certain places. If I tell you that you have a no contact provision on your bond, this means you must stay away and have no contact with the alleged victim in your case. You may not call, text, email, write a letter to, or contact through any social media platform. You can't even do something as nice for that person, such as sending them flowers or a nice song. As nice as that may sound, ladies and gentlemen, that is a violation of your bond. Now, in addition to telling you can't have contact with people, I may tell some of you that you are not to return to a particular location. And that means you cannot go back to that location for any reason while your case is still pending. If the no return location is a place that you used to live at the time that this happened with the alleged victim, please let me know and I'll make sure that I check a certain box on your document so that you'll be able to go there, but only go there with the sheriff to get things that belong to you. And you'll need to do that with the sheriff within 10 days of your being released. Now, unfortunately, some percentage of you will be back in custody on a bond revocation because you didn't take what I'm saying seriously. And instead, some of you will go back to that residence. Some of you will reconcile with the victim and have conversation with the victim. And then things, as you believe, are perfect. And they are, ladies and gentlemen, until suddenly they are not, and you are back in custody. Because remember, again, I'm going to tell you this morning, certain things you are not to do. I say that because the best advice I can give you, regardless of what the alleged victim wants to do, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, is to abide by what I tell you and to stay away unless it is modified or your case is closed. Now, let me also say that if your spouse, family member, or friend is the alleged victim in your case, this person cannot come down to the sheriff's office to post your bond for you. As you know, because you will have a no contact order in place as a special condition on your bond, so they are not allowed to have contact with you or assist you in any way. Now, some of you are charged with offenses for which this court is not authorized by law to set bail. In this event, a bond hearing will be scheduled before a judge of the Superior Court of Clayton County. There are also some of you who are actively on felony probation, and this court is not authorized to set bond at this time. Whether a bond is appropriate in your case will be reconsidered after your probation officer has had the opportunity to consider the new arrest. Now, the last thing I want to talk to you, ladies and gentlemen, is what is called a preliminary hearing. A preliminary hearing is a stage prior to your case going to the prosecutor where the judge, you, as well as your attorney, are present to determine if there is enough evidence to go forward with your case. If you are charged with a felony here this morning, you automatically get a preliminary hearing, and the only way that hearing goes away is if you make your bond. But if you're charged with a misdemeanor, criminal trespass, battery, family violence, DUI, traffic charges, you have a right to that preliminary hearing. You don't have to have it if you don't want to. You can choose to tell me this morning, Judge, I don't want my hearing. I want my case to move a little quicker. Please waive my right to my hearing. And if you tell me that this morning, we'll have some paperwork to sign for you, and I will do that. But again, that is your choice. Okay? So each of you, as you come up, if you are charged with a misdemeanor, I will ask you, would you like to have that preliminary hearing if you don't make your bond, where again, it would be yourself, the judge, and the attorney to go over the evidence, and the officer to go over the evidence against you to determine if there's enough to move forward. Now, before we begin, ladies and gentlemen, I would just like to go ahead and administer the oath to everyone. So if I could have everyone, both men and women, please raise your hand. Do you swear or affirm that the information that you're about to give to this court, as well as any information you provided on your application for court-appointed counsel, is true and correct? If so, please say I do.
I do.
All right. Deputy, what we're going to do is I'm going to take, of course, the females first, and we will do those that are not on JOTS first, and then those that are last, okay? Or second.
Ladies.
First, Bell. Give me a highlighter.
Okay, so I'm showing here, if this is correct, first one should be Bell, and she is not on job. So again, I'm going to call them. The order you're going to hear me call is going to be alphabetical, but it will be those that I'm showing are not on jobs.
All right, John.
All right, so first up should be Miss Michaela Bell.
Yes.
Are you Miss Bell?
Yes, yes, sir.
Miss Bell, I have you here charged with one count of simple battery family violence. Is that your understanding, ma'am? Now, ma'am, I want to confirm, you are in fact, this says you just turned 19, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And this is the first time that you've ever been arrested?
I went to jail before.
I'm sorry?
I went to jail before.
Okay, was that when you were a minor? When you
Yeah,
were under 18? Okay, but this is your first time in adult jail, is that correct?
sure.
And you're still in high school, is that correct?
Sure.
You're out of high school? Okay. Other than this arrest as an adult, do you have any other arrests?
Misdemeanor.
Okay. So what I want to do, ma'am, this morning, Ms. Bell, based on your lack of a history and your young age, I am going to go ahead and release you this morning, ma'am. Now, that does not mean that your case is being closed. Do you understand that? You still have a case that is moving forward. And so you will need to make sure that whatever the last known address that we have here on file for you is correct, and that you make sure that we go ahead and that we are aware of where you're going to be living, okay? Now, let me ask you this then. If you are not in school anymore, then and again, I don't want you to tell me, why you were there, but I have here as an allegation that you were on school property. Do you have family that goes to the school?
I have friends that go there.
Okay, and you don't attend school there, correct?
Not no more.
Okay, so then once you're released, ma'am, I'm going to make it a condition of your release that you are not to return to that property. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, ma'am. So I'm going to release you this morning, but that's going to be on the condition you do not return to that property. Do you have any questions for me, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
All right. So there's going to be a document there that the deputy is going to have you sign because you're being released, ma'am. You will not have your preliminary hearing. Okay.
Sir.
All right. Good luck to you, man. Next up, deputy, is going to be Miss Shaquela Cook. And after Miss Cook, I have Miss Sharonda Ellie, E-L-L-Y. Are you Miss Cook?
Yes.
Miss Cook, you are charged with 1 count of aggravated assault. Your bond amount is $25,000, ma'am. You do have special conditions, and that's to stay away from the alleged victim, Miss Farley, and away from the address of 670 Georgia Avenue. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, ma'am, if that was where you were living prior to this incident, I need you to also remember, ma'am, that you cannot return to that property. And so what that means for you then is, if there are items there that you need to get, upon your release, if you're able to make bond, you will go ahead, you will have to contact the sheriff's office, and then they will go with you to that particular piece of property to get anything that belongs to you. Do you understand that, ma'am? Now, based on the information here that I have, ma'am, how much are you earning per month?
I just started working, so nothing right now. Maybe like.
Okay, so I am going to go ahead and I'm going to appoint you a court-appointed lawyer here this morning to help you on your case, okay? All right, so your bond is $25,000. You understand you're stay away from the property, stay away from the alleged victim. I've advised you, I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer to assist you. Your next court date, ma'am, should you not make your bond, is going to be March 6th. That's going to be your preliminary hearing, 2024 at 8:30 a.m., okay? All right, good luck to you, man. All right, next up is Miss Eli. Miss Shakura Eli. Are you Miss Eli?
Yes, sir.
Let's pull his face out on stage.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Give me 1 second here. Get all of your paperwork. And all right, so Miss Eli, you are charged with several counts of simple battery here. So we're going to go through each one. And deputy next will be Asia McDowell. So Miss Eli, you are charged with 6 counts of simple battery. For each individual count, ma'am, the bond amount is $3,500. And so your total bond amount is $21,000. You have special conditions, ma'am. Those conditions will be 1, for you to stay away from these people, Mr. Rashad Bedward, Faith Weaver, and Jonathan Kirby. You are also not to return to the Hartsfield International Airport unless you are there for travel or for work. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Miss Eli, are you I have here that you provided that you're not currently working, ma'am. So I am going to go ahead and appoint you a lawyer. I saw that you put that here. I'm going to do that free of charge for you, okay?
Wait, so my bond is 21,000?
Yes, ma'am.
No.
Hold on, Miss Eli, we're not done yet. One last question for you. That preliminary hearing I mentioned earlier, that's where, you know, you're present, the officer's present, your attorney that I just appointed for you, or I can waive that hearing for you, and then you can keep moving. I can move your case a little quicker to the prosecutor. Would you like to have that hearing or waive that hearing, ma'am?
What that means?
So the hearing is, if you don't make your bond, it's a hearing where you're there, your attorney and the judge to review the evidence against you, okay? If you make your bond and you get out, the hearing doesn't happen. If you don't get out, you can say, Judge, I don't want that hearing either way. Just send my case, move it a little faster, send it to the prosecutor so we can get closer to the end if you want, okay? So,
Even if I do bond, I can just still say I want a hearing just in case.
no, ma'am, if you bond out, that hearing is waived. Do you think it's likely you're gonna bond out?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what's up to you? I can set it, and then if you bond out, you won't have it, or I can just waive it altogether.
Can you, yeah, set it for me just in case?
Okay, so ma'am, your next court date, should you not make your bond, is gonna be March 8th of 2024, and that's gonna be at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom, okay? So again, that's gonna be March 8th, 2024. That's gonna be at 8:30 a.m., and that's gonna be via Zoom. Your bond amount is $21,000. And I've also advised you of those individuals you are to stay away from, as well as from the Hartsfield Airport, unless you are there for travel or for work. Do you have any questions for me, ma'am?
No, sir.
All right, man. Good luck to you.
All right, go ahead.
All right, next up should be Miss Asia McDowell.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Are you Miss McDowell?
Yes.
All right, Miss McDowell. I've got you here. You are charged with one count of reckless conduct with a bond amount of $2,500 and one count of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon for a bond amount of $8,000. So your total bond, ma'am, is $10,500. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Now, ma'am, you are charged with a felony here, and so that means that should you not make your bond, I'm going to give you your next court date. Your next court date is going to be March 6th of 2024. And that's going to be at 8:30 a.m. and that's going to be via Zoom, okay?
Okay.
Now I have here that you're making about $2,800 a month. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so because of that, ma'am, I am not going to be able to appoint you a court-appointed lawyer here this morning. And so what that means,
Hold on.
go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Let me get through mine and then I'll listen to you. So based on what you told me, I'm not going to be able to appoint you a lawyer. So you will have to get your own if you so choose for your case. Do you understand that? And then I'll listen to you.
Okay, yes, sir.
right.
Let me know when you're ready for me to interject.
Go ahead. I'm
Okay,
ready now.
great. All right, so I actually am legally blind, so I really can't even see anybody in here right now. So out of that 2,800, at least 900 of that is a social security disability, and the other 1,700 is a stipend. So yeah.
Okay. Well, I will say this, since I don't have your medical documents in front of me, ma'am, I just have to go with what, I have as of right now. And so if it turns out that is, money that you cannot afford, then please bring that up at that preliminary hearing.
Okay.
And then they can reconsider you at that point. Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. Any questions for me, ma'am?
All right, so just to reiterate everything, so basically the full bond amount is going to be 10,500,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
the court date is going to be on March the 6th.
Yes, ma'am. Should you not make your bond?
All right, okay, well, I'll see you then. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Next up, I have Miss Felton Lucretia Patterson. And then after that should be Jada Powell. Are you Miss Patterson?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Patterson, you're charged with one count of prostitution and one count of reckless conduct, HIV. The prostitution carries a charge of $1,500. The reckless conduct carries a bond amount of $10,000 for a total bond of $11,500. Now, with the information I have here, ma'am, I am going to go ahead. I'm going to appoint you a court-appointed lawyer here this morning to assist you on your case, okay?
Okay, can I ask a question, Your Honor?
Yeah. Let me get through mine and I'll listen to you. Now, the last thing I have before I get to you, your preliminary hearing that I mentioned earlier, would you like to have that hearing or waive it?
Could you just set it just in case?
Yes, ma'am, I sure will. So should you not make your bond, your next court date is gonna be March 8th, 2024. That's gonna be at 8:30 a.m. and that's gonna be via Zoom, okay?
Okay.
All right, so how can I help you, ma'am?
Oh, yes, sir. Out of that bond amount, how much, if I'm going through a bonding company, how much of that would I possibly be looking at to pay?
So again, it's 12 to 15%. So on 11.5, you'd be looking at about $1,300 roughly.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Good luck to you. All right. Next up should be Miss Jada Powell. Are you Miss Powell?
Yes, sir.
All right. So Miss Powell, you are charged with 1 count of simple battery here. Now let me ask you a couple things, Miss Powell. I have here with the information I have that you're 19 years old. Is that correct?
18.
18. Okay. Excuse me. Do you still attend Charles Drew High School?
So I go to Perry Academy.
Okay. So you have no reason to be on that property, correct? All right. So ma'am, I am going to release you this morning, but it is going to be on one condition. That's going to be that you do not return to that property. Do you understand that? Now I need you to be clear with me. Your case is not being dismissed. What that means is you need to make sure that whatever your last known address is, that we have it on file here at the sheriff's office so that when your case continues, they can send your next court date to the proper address. Do you understand that? Now, because you're being released this morning, ma'am, you are waiving your right to a preliminary hearing. So that means there's a piece of paper that they're going to have you sign up there in a couple minutes. Once you sign that piece of paper, you should be released in a few hours, okay? All right, good luck to you, ma'am. All right, next up should be Kyandra Smith. And after Ms. Smith should be Michelle Williams. All right, are you Ms. Smith? Ms. Smith, you are charged with 1 count of violation of Georgia Controlled Substances Act, ma'am. Your bond amount is $5,000. Based on the information you provided here to me, ma'am, you do not qualify for a court-appointed lawyer. So that means you will have to hire your own if you so choose for your case. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Now, lastly, I need to ask you about your preliminary hearing here, or tell you about your preliminary hearing. Your next court date, ma'am, is going to be March 6th of 2024, and that's going to be at 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom, okay? Again, that's going to be March 6th, 2024, 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom, all right? Do you have any questions of me, ma'am?
No.
All right, ma'am, good luck to you. Should be Michelle Williams. All right, are you Miss Williams?
Yes, sir.
All right, and after Miss Williams should be Jennifer Wright. Miss Williams, you're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass. Your bond amount, ma'am, is $2,500. Do you believe you'll be able to make that bond, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, based on the information that you provided here, ma'am, I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer that will assist you on your case, and that'll be free of charge to you. The last question I have for you, ma'am, is because this is a misdemeanor, you have a right to your preliminary hearing, or you can waive it. Which would you like to do, have it or waive it?
I'm have it.
All right, so should you not make your bond, your next court date is going to be March 8th at 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom, okay? Again, that's March 8th of this year, 2024 at 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom. And I've advised you your bond is $2,500. If you don't have any questions of me, ma'am, that's all I have for you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Should be Miss Jennifer Wright. All right, are you Miss Wright?
Yes, sir.
All right, so Miss Wright, actually, Deputy, she's a fugitive. If we could just hold her till the end, let me get through the other individuals. Now we should be on Jot. I've got Miss Carey up first. Miss Neha Jasmine Carey. Are you Miss Carey?
Nigel.
Oh, is it Nija?
Yes.
Okay, so Miss Carey, give me one moment here. I'm just getting into our system, but I do want to tell you, Miss Carey, you have three charges here. One is driving with no insurance. One is driving with a failure to have headlights. And then the last charge is possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, okay?
Okay.
You hear me there?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Ms. Carey, the first charge, the no insurance, carries a bond amount of $1,000. The second charge, that's the failure to have headlights, that carries a bond amount of $500. And the possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, that carries a bond amount of $8,000. And so what that means is that your total bond is $9,500. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes.
Now, the last question I have for you, well, a couple things. First, let me say, because you're charged with a felony, that means your next court date, ma'am, is going to be March 6th of 2024, and that's going to be at 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom. So again, should you not make it
Repeat that date?
March 6th,
Okay.
2024, 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom. Okay?
Okay.
And you'll have that date only if you don't make your bond, okay? So if you bond out, that court date automatically goes away, okay?
All right.
Now, based on the information you provided me, ma'am, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to appoint you a court-appointed lawyer that's going to be free of charge to you, so that's a no cost to you, okay? Do you hear that? I couldn't hear. I think I lost you a little bit.
I heard you.
Okay. So with that, Ms. Carey, do you have any questions for me about anything?
No.
All right, so that's all I have for you, ma'am. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Mhm. Next up should be Miss Anaya Hector. Are you Miss Hector?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Hector, you are charged with one count by shoplifting. I'm showing here, we've reviewed your criminal history, Ms. Hector. We are going to release you this morning. But I need you to understand, Ms. Hector, simply because you are being released this morning, you need to please keep in mind that does not mean that your case is over. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And so what that means is upon your release, please make sure that whatever your last known address is that you're currently receiving mail from, that the jail has that address, so that they're able to send any mail for your next court date that address. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, a couple of things I need to tell you before I let you go. One, because of the information you provided to me, ma'am, let me ask you, are you currently working?
No.
Okay, so I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer. So you will get a lawyer free of charge. And because I'm releasing you, you're waiving your right to a preliminary hearing. So there will be a document there that the deputy will have to sign for you. So let's again go over everything. You're charged with a misdemeanor. I'm releasing you today. I'm going to give you a court-appointed lawyer. You'll have a document there that you'll have to sign, waiving your right to a hearing because you're going to go home in a few hours. Do you have any questions for me for anything?
No, sir.
All right, ma'am. So that's all I have for you. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next up should be Ms. Sharp. And are you Ms. Sharp?
Yes, sir.
All right, give me 1 second, Ms. Sharp. All right, so Ms. Sharp, you were charged with a few things here. We're just going to go through the list of them, okay? So starting with the beginning of the traffic charges, you are charged with one count of speeding, ma'am. That carries a bond amount of $2,500. You're charged with one seatbelt violation that has a bond of $500. You're charged with 2 counts of endangering a child while driving under the influence. Charge carries a bond amount of $5,000. You're charged with one count, another count of child safety violation, safety restraint violation that carries a bond amount of $500. Excuse me. You're charged with one count of DUI that carries a bond amount of $2,500. And then lastly, you're charged with one count of no insurance, which carries a bond amount of $1,000, and one count of concealing a license plate, which carries a bond of $500. So your total bond with all of those charges is $17,500. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you
think I rounded out on those. Should have been.
I'm sorry,
No.
you said you thought you bonded out on those charges?
Yeah, I know last night, one was not ready.
Mm-hmm,
The bonds people, they did a bond on all that was ready, and then
okay.
it was one that whatever was not ready is what we were waiting to see about how that one would go.
So as of right now, the information that I have is that it is not, it's not showing that you bonded out. So I may not have, let me say, I may not have the most information. And so if that is the case, that I do not have it, then by all means, you know, that will be updated in the system, okay? Okay, can you hear me?
I can answer.
Okay. But right now, I'm not showing that it has, but it just may mean I don't have everything in front of me, okay? Right now, again, just to let you know with what I have, that bond amount is 17.5. I'm gonna give you a court-appointed lawyer here this morning, Ms. Sharp. With everything that I have, I'm showing that you are not currently working, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So I am gonna go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer this morning. Let me ask you this just to make sure, Ms. Sharp. You are charged with misdemeanors here, so you have a right to a court-appointed lawyer, or you can choose, excuse me, to a preliminary hearing, or you can tell me, Judge, I don't want that preliminary hearing. Would you like to waive your hearing or have your hearing here this morning?
I have the preliminary.
Okay, so should you not make your bond, your next court date is going to be March 8th of 2024, and that's going to be at 8:30 a.m. and that's going to be via Zoom. So again, your bond is 17.5. I've given you a court-appointed lawyer. Your next court date will be your preliminary hearing. That's going to be March 8th of 2024. All right, Ms. Sharp?
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Something that you gotta sign your bond over.
Sign your bond.
Next, sir.
She ain't got none.
And let's see. And who's gonna deputies? And
Yes.
I'm sorry, who do we have here?
Takenya Jones.
I'm sorry.
Takenya Jones.
I don't think I had you on those. Give me 1 second, ma'am.
Already bonded out, probably that's why.
You said you already bonded out, ma'am?
Yes,
No, I think there's
I'm just waiting on the county.
there's the one
Yeah,
that
she's number 19 on the first appearance list.
is that the one I think, one that person with it?
No.
Yeah, deputies, I'm not showing her on the list that I had. Give me
Judge.
1 second. Yes.
Judge, she's wanted person located, wanted by, I think, APD. That's why. What the hell?
Let me double check my list here because I didn't see any information.
Tyson, let me see my thing. She's wanted by APD. One of the, she's wanted person, you're not supposed to be a first appearance.
I told them, I just saw my bond this morning. I bonded out last night, but I had charges here. I bonded out.
19. She
I was just waiting on the land.
person located. So she's not supposed to come, she wanted by APD.
I told them that. Told me so,
She's waiting to be picked up by the agency.
And ma'am, what's your last name again?
Jones, Jones.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm showing. So yeah, so her name was listed and then it was blacked out because it says she bonded out, but she's wanted. So I don't have any of your documents here this morning as of yet, ma'am. So I'm gonna have to continue you till tomorrow and then let them see if they can locate this wanted. Otherwise, you're gonna be released. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Sorry about that. All right, deputies, if you would just give me 1 moment, please, before we switch over.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, deputies, I'm ready for the gentleman. Since I'm in Jots right now, I'll go ahead and do the Jots first, and then we're gonna just hold Miss Wright for, last, the extradition. So first up should be Mr. Deshaun Butler.
Miss, inmate Hammond, Andrew.
Yes, I have him.
He's one of the non-compliant inmates. We're gonna put him last. at the end of the-
Okay, so be Hammond, and then we'll do the, extradition, right, and then Hammond will be last. Yes, sir. First up should be Mr. Butler.
Bring
He's
Mr.
up.
Butler. Bring Butler.
And then after Butler, we'll do Eric Cousin.
Cousin.
Butler, then Cousin.
How's it going?
All right, good morning. Are you Mr. Deshaun Butler?
Sir.
Deshaun Butler. Mr. Butler, you are charged with several offenses here. We're going to go through them one by one. The first is a violation of the Controlled Substances Act, sir. Your bond amount is $3,500. You're charged with one count of possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce. Your bond amount is $1,000. You're charged with possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. Your bond amount is $8,000. You're charged with one count of possession of drug-related objects. Your bond amount is $500. You're charged with the second count of possession of drug-related objects. Your bond amount is $500. You're charged with one count of expired tag and one count of improper brake lights. Your bond for each of those charges is $500. So your total bond amount, sir, is $14,500. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through a couple other things here. Based on the information that you provided to me, sir, I am gonna give you a lawyer, based on the information you provided, you're making about $3,200 a month, is that right? Mr. Butler, you're making about
I believe,
$3,200.
I think so. Probably a little bit
Okay.
more.
So based on that, sir,
Yes, sir. I believe a little bit more.
Okay, so based on that, sir, you do not qualify for a court-appointed lawyer. So that means if you want a lawyer for your case, you will have to hire your own. Do you understand that?
Okay.
Okay.
I can get in contact with my brother or my mother after I leave, contact with you.
Okay. So again, your bond amount is $14,500. You are charged with felonies. You're gonna have to hire your own lawyer. Your next court date, sir, should you not make your bond, is going to be March 6th at 8:30 a.m. in 2024, and that's going to be via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Sir.
All right. So do you have any questions for me at this point, sir?
Is there like a percentage on my bond or no?
Well, yes, there is. So you're saying if you wanted to bond out?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So if you want to bond out on the bond that I just advised you, your bond being your total here, let me go back to you, Mr. Butler. Your total bond right now was $14,500. You'd be looking at about $1,750 that you'd have to come up with.
Okay,
Okay.
sir.
All right, sir. I believe that's all I have for you, sir. Good luck to you.
All right, appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Next up should be Mr. Cousins, Eric Cousin.
Yes, sir.
Are you Mr. Cousin?
Sir.
And after Mr. Cousin will be Brandon Earl. Mr. Cousin, you are charged with one count of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, sir. Now I'm going to advise you of how much your bond is. Specifically, your bond is $15,000. Do you understand that? Now, Mr. Cousin, are you currently working?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So based on the information you provided to me, sir, I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer that's going to assist you on your case, okay? Can you hear me? Did you hear me there, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Now, should you not make your bond, sir, I need to tell you, your next court date is going to be March 6th at 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom, okay?
Okay.
So again, let's go over everything. Your bond is $15,000. You're charged with one count of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Your next court date is going to be March 6th. And based on the information you've provided, I am going to appoint you a court-appointed lawyer to help you on your case, okay?
All right. With 10% of it, with this 1,500, Judge?
10 to 15, about 15% be what you're looking at. You're looking at about $1,750.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions for me, sir?
Thank you, thank you.
All right, thank you. Next up should be Mr. Earl.
Morning, Judge.
Good morning, Mr. Earl. How are you this morning?
Grateful, man. How you feeling?
Oh, doing all right. And after Mr. Earl will be Mr. Terrence Mills. So, Mr. Earl, you are charged with one count of felony violation of a Georgia Controlled Substances Act, one count of possession of a drug-related object, and a second count of possession of a violation of a Georgia Controlled Substances Act. Each of the felony drug charges carries a bond of $5,000, and the drug-related object carries a bond of $500. And so your total bond, sir, is $10,500. Do you understand that?
So,
Now, because you are charged with a felony, your next court date, sir, should you not make your bond, is going to be March 6th, and that's going to be at 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom. Do you understand that?
if I may, Your Honor,
Yes.
I have an autistic son, and he's in sole custody with me. He's with my mother right now. If it pleases the court, I was just asking for you for a shorter bond, a smaller bond, so I can get home as soon as I can to take my son from my mom. She had to go back to work on Monday. I just want to be there as quick as I can.
Yes, sir. And while I understand and sympathize with you, sir, I cannot at this time.
You said my bond was set at what?
15,000. So that means if you use a bonding company, you're looking at about 1,750 out of pocket. Okay. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
No, they ain't gonna sell it.
All right. And after Mr. Mills, I actually skipped two people. Dorian Hill and Eric Lynch will be after Mills. Dorian Hill, Eric Lynch. Are you Mr. Mills?
Yes, I am, Your Honor. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. So, Mr. Mills, you are charged with one count of aggravated assault. Next court date going to be March 6th, 2024, 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Should you not make your bond, I'm going to tell you here in a minute. Again, your next court date is March 6th, 2024, 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom. Your bond amount, sir, is $50,000. Now, you do have special conditions here, sir. The allegations are that this incident involves a particular individual, I believe, that you were living with. And so should you make your bond at some point, you're going to have to stay away from the alleged victim, that being a Travion Johnson. And you're going to also have to stay away from the address of 701 Mount Zion Road. And so if that's the place that you were living at prior to this incident happening, sir, you're going to have to make sure that should you make your bond, you would contact the sheriff's office and they would help you go to that incident location and get some of your belongings until your case is closed. Do you understand that?
And I don't even live there. I don't know anything about this. This is a blind warrant to me. I don't know
Okay.
anything about.
Well, remember, hold on. Remember what I said earlier. You don't want to talk to me about your case and give evidence that may help harm you. So, I understand that you may not know what's going on with it, and that's what you'll tell your attorney. So you don't want to talk too much about it here, okay?
I'm just trying to get back to work. I gotta be able to get to work on Monday, because any type of way you can lower my bill just a little bit.
I can't, not with those allegations, sir, unfortunately. I cannot. All right?
Understood, Your Honor.
All right, so we have
As far as,
spoken about it.
as far as the court appearance, could it be sent to the letter address that I have on file and not whatever was said? My court.
So
March
that would
22nd.
be what you'll have to make sure the address you want it sent to, you would need to let the jail know that, okay?
Correct.
And they'll be able to make sure that it goes to where it needs to go to, okay?
Man, as long as this address you just said not on file for me for no reason, because I don't live there, never lived there.
Well, I
Never-
wasn't saying that that's your address on file. I'm just telling you, based on the information I had, it appeared that you live there. If it doesn't, and you don't live there, hey, that's great. You don't even have to worry about that part of it. So the only thing that you really have to concern yourself with is if you do go make bond, when you make bond, you just know I don't need to return to that address for anything then, right?
So I just want to make sure I get the court letter. That's all, y'all.
No, I completely, I understand, but you understand what I'm saying as well?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I've never went in the first place, so that's not a problem.
All right, well then then we're good to go, man. Any other questions I can answer for you?
No, yeah, thank you.
All right, good luck to you. Next up should be Mr. Hill and then Mr. Lynch. All right, are you Mr. Hill?
Yes, sir.
All right, so Mr. Hill, you were charged here with one count of terroristic threat. But let me say this, Mr. Hill, the information that I was provided on your arrest warrant, I believe is lacking some necessary legal information. And so because of that, sir, I am gonna go ahead and I'm dismissing the arrest warrant against you here today. But I want to be clear with what's happening. I am dismissing the warrant based on insufficient information. That doesn't mean, sir, that this charge may not come back at a later date. It could turn out at a later time, Mr. Hill, that a different judge brings it back or that the prosecutor brings it back themselves. They can do that. But as of today, your case is dismissed. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have any questions of me, sir?
No, sir.
All right, sir. So the best thing I could tell you, obviously, do the right thing, stay out of trouble. And then if for whatever reason, this happens to come back, you can deal with it at that point. But as of right now, it is gone, Mr. Moore. Do you understand that?
Mr. Moore. You call me Mr. Moore.
Excuse me, I apologize. Let me grab it again here. I'm sorry. So what's your name again?
Gloria Hills.
I'm sorry, Mr. Hill. I was looking at the wrong thing. I thought you were letting me go.
Yeah, I thought I was mistaken. Yeah.
Give me 1 second. I'm sorry, Mr. Hill. Give me 1 second. I was looking at this one.
All right.
I got out of order. Give me 1 second. Yep. All right. So, all right, Mr. Hill. Mr. Hill, you were charged with one count of criminal trespass, and you're charged with one count of simple assault. Excuse me. Mr. Hill, your bond amount is $5,000 for the trespass and $5,000 for the simple assault. Okay, so your total bond is going to be $10,000. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, this is what I need to ask you, Mr. Hill, because you are charged with misdemeanors. You have a right to a preliminary hearing, or you have a right to waive that hearing. Which would you like to do this morning, sir?
Can I ask you a question, sir?
Yes, sir.
What would be the difference if I had it or waived it?
Sure. If you say to me, Judge, I want my hearing, having that hearing it's another way for you just to require the court to provide all of the evidence that they have against you. So it's a hearing where you're present, your attorney will be there, the judge will be there, and they're just going to look at all that evidence they have against you and make sure that they have enough evidence to proceed against you. Okay. But there are some people who say, look, I don't want that hearing. I want my case get up to the prosecutor as soon as possible and then deal with it when I get there. Okay. And you have that right. And so again, you can choose to say, Judge, because I'm charged with misdemeanors, I'd rather not have that hearing. I'd rather just go ahead, push my case forward, get it up to the prosecutor as soon as I can. Or you can say, Judge, yes, I want that hearing. Go ahead, set it for me. And then, I'll deal with it when we get there. Now, let me say this. If you make your bond, Mr. Hill, I need to make sure you understand this. If you make your bond on this, your hearing goes away altogether. So, that should not come into your decision how you want to proceed. But I just want you to be aware also, I can grant you this hearing today. And then if we turn around in a week or two from now, you bond out, then that hearing is done altogether.
So if I waive it, can I bond out today if I can make bond?
If you waive it, yes. Well, either way, whether you bond out or not, this doesn't affect that.
Okay. I'll waive it. I just want to make bond.
Okay. I want to make sure you understand what we're talking about, though. Do you have any questions about anything I just we talked about?
No, you said the preliminary hearing is when they present the evidence, right?
The preliminary hearing is going to be you, the police officer, and it's going to be a judge, and they're going to go over the evidence with you, and their judge is going to determine, do we have enough evidence to go forward against this person, okay? If they say they don't have enough evidence, your case goes away. If they say they do, it keeps going forward, and it goes to the prosecutor.
Yeah, I'll waive it, y'all.
Okay, so now because you are waiving your hearing, the deputies are going to have a piece of paper there that they're going to have you sign off on, saying that you are waiving your right to your hearing today, okay?
Okay.
All right, sir, Mr. Hill, did I answer all your questions?
Yes, sir.
All right, good luck to you, sir.
All right, thanks.
Go ahead, see how.
Where you going?
You got it wrong with
I
exit
believe
this
it should be Mr. Lynch,
building. Set up.
and after Mr. Lynch should be Mr. Charles Moore.
More.
Are you Mr. Lynch?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Lynch, you are charged with 1 count of battery, family violence. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I get it.
Okay. You are charged with 1 count of battery, family violence, and your bond amount, sir, is $3,500, sir. Do you believe you'll be able to make your bond?
Yes, sir.
Okay, are you currently working, sir?
Yes, sir.
About how much are you making per month?
I work at a barber shop, so I make cash every day. I really don't.
Okay, if you had to estimate, how much are you bringing home per month?
Probably almost 3,000.
Okay, so based on that information, do you have any children?
Yes, sir.
How many?
I got two little girls.
Okay. And is their mother around?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay. So based on that information, sir, I am not going to be able to appoint you a court-appointed lawyer. So if you do want a lawyer on your case, you will have to hire your own, okay? Now, the last question I have for you is this, Mr. Lynch. When we spoke, when I talked earlier, I talked to everybody about a preliminary hearing, okay? Now, because you were charged with misdemeanors, you have a right to that preliminary hearing that I discussed, or you can waive that preliminary hearing, and I'll send your case up to the prosecutor's office, and your case moves a little quicker. Or, as I said to the gentleman before you, I can set that hearing date, and if you don't make your bond, you'll get the hearing. With that in mind, sir, which would you like to do? Would you like to have that hearing or waive that hearing?
I like to have it.
All right. So I'm going to show here that you are asking to have your hearing. And so your hearing date is going to be March 12th of 2024. And that's going to be at 8:30 a.m. And that's going to be.
What if I waived it though?
Well, choosing to waive it or have it, it doesn't make a difference on your bond. Waiving it, all waiving does is it just moves it a little faster up to the prosecutor's office.
Oh, so waive it, move it a little faster.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll waive it.
Okay, so I want to make sure before we do that and I change it, I want to make sure that that's what you want me to do. So again, we've gone over it. I've given you the option to either have the hearing or waive the hearing. I've explained to you that doing one or the other doesn't make a difference on your bond. It just makes it move a little quicker. And based on that, sir, you have said that you want to waive your hearing. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, before I let you go, do you have any questions about what that means?
No, not about that. I got a question for you though.
Yes, sir. Go ahead and tell me.
So, if I would, what's the longest I can be in here for battery?
I can't, remember, I'm not supposed to talk to you about those charges, so I can't really tell you that.
All right.
Okay?
Yeah, that was the only question I had.
All right, sir. If that's the only question you have, I believe that is all I have for you, sir. Good luck to you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
How you doing, Judge?
I'm doing well. Give me 1 second, sir. I'll be right with you.
Sir.
Yeah, right there. I'm trying, because they found out that 80 grand. But if you go to New York, it's over 132,000.
But it costs, but it's not on there while you make the camera.
What, touching my hair?
Yeah, you lied on.
Judge my.
You made a lot of action for.
Okay, I'm so sorry, I was waiting on.
All right, just give me 1 second here. I'm just
Are you fine, sir?
checking something. Let me.
Y'all, that's a long one. You look flexible. Yeah, but those are they are. It's no shot. Make thought they gonna. The federal officers. Georgia, oh, I tell you, like, the Georgia Fox still got a hell of a plan. But shoot your ass.
Sign on the.
All right,
Go pass the sign.
all right, sir. And what's your last name?
More.
All right, so Mr. Moore,
Yes, sir.
you were charged with one count of terroristic threat here, okay? Now, I had a chance to review the information here that we had against you, sir. Now, let me be clear. The information I have made the decision to dismiss your warrant against you. I want to tell you that is my decision here today. That doesn't mean that the prosecutor's office cannot review this again and change some things and decide to bring you back and arrest you again. But based on what I have before me, I have just simply found that the information is insufficient for me to make a final decision about whether this arrest is valid. And so again, because of that, I am dismissing your charge here this morning, okay?
Thank you, sir.
All right, do you have any questions for me, sir?
We're not allowed to talk about the case, right?
That's correct. Yep, we don't want to do that.
I guess the only question I really got is, will I be spending, I don't have to pay a bond, correct?
Nope, no bond.
So after this, I just go home.
Yep, they should be releasing you within a few hours.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. All right, next up should be Mr. Rico Shepard and then Mr. Eduardo Soto.
Shepherd and Soto. Come on, boss, set it up. Shepherd. Shepherd and Soto. Someone next. Take it over. Let's have it. We'll get it, Judge, man.
Rico Shepherd.
Are you Mr. Shepard?
I'm good. How about you?
All right, I'm well, sir. So, Mr. Shepard, you were charged with 3 separate charges here that we're gonna go over, okay?
Sir.
All right, so beginning with the first charge, sir, here, you are charged with 1 count of robbery by force. You are charged with 1 count of aggravated assault, and you're charged with 1 count of possession of a weapon during the commission of a crime. Now, because you are charged with felonies, your preliminary hearing date is gonna be March 6th, 2024, and that's going to be at 8:30 a.m. and that's going to be via Zoom, okay? Now, based on the information I have before me, sir, here today, I need to tell you, Mr. Shepard, that you do not qualify for a bond. And so what that means is you're going to have 2 court dates. That preliminary hearing is going to be at March 6th of 2024 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom, and then you're going to have a bond hearing date where they can go over your bond again and determine if, in fact, they want to give you bond. I'm just not going to do it today. And that bond hearing date is going to be March 8th at 8:30 a.m. and that's also going to be via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, again, because you are charged with felonies, I said that first court date I gave you is March 6th. That second is going to be March 8th. I'm also, in looking at the information we have before us here, going to give you a court-appointed lawyer, and that's going to be free of charge to you, okay?
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Now, that's all I have for you, sir. Do you have any questions for me?
Yes, sir.
All right, good luck to you, sir. All right, next up should be Mr. Soto, and after Mr. Soto will be Mr. Marcus Thomas. Are you Mr. Soto?
Yes, sir.
All right, so Mr. Soto, you are charged with several charges here that we're going to go through one by one, okay?
Yes, sir.
You are charged here, sir, first with 1 count of giving a false name to an officer. Your bond amount is $1,500. Possession of tools during the commission of a crime, your bond amount is $8,000. Identity fraud, your bond amount is $3,500. by receipt of stolen property, your bond amount is $2,000. Possession of drug-related objects, your bond amount is $1,000. Possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, your bond amount is $8,000. Possession of less than 1 ounce of marijuana, your bond amount is $1,000. Possession of a felony drug, your bond amount is $3,500. Burglary in the first degree, your bond amount is $50,000. Your total bond amount, sir, is going to be $78,500. Do you understand that?
I have a question, right? Burglary in the first degree, what was going on now again?
The bond amount is $50,000.
Alright.
Okay. Now, with the information that you provided to us this morning, sir, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to grant you a lawyer free of charge. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have any questions for me, Mr. Soto?
No, sir. How much was my bond total again?
78,500.
Alright.
All right. Good luck to you, sir.
I've seen some guys say that before.
All right. Should be Mr. Thomas.
I'm at Mr. Soto. Right there on that X for me, please.
All right. Are you Mr. Thomas?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, Mr. Thomas, you were charged with several things here, and I'm just going to walk you through each of them so we make sure we've got everything. First, you're charged in with 1 count of theft by receipt of stolen property. Your bond amount is $4,000. Possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime. Your bond amount is $8,000. Possession of tools during the commission of a crime. Your bond amount is $3,000. The next charge is operating a vehicle with no insurance. Your bond amount is $1,000. Expired tag. Your bond amount is $500. Window tint, $500. And then lastly, you had a second charge of window tint, which I have dismissed. And so that bond amount is going to be dismissed. It was $500, but I'm going to dismiss that. Okay.
So what
Did you hear that, Mr. Thomas? I dismissed that last charge against you, I was saying.
All
right, so your total bond, sir, is going to be $17,000. Do you understand that?
Thank you.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now, with those charges against you, sir, we need to, give me 1 second here, Mr. Thomas. So, okay, with those charges here, sir, your next court date is going to be March 6th. That's going to be 8:30 a.m. and that's going to be via Zoom, should you not make your bond, okay?
All right.
Now, because of the information you told me here, I am going to grant you a court-appointed lawyer. So again, your next date, court date, March 6th, 8:30 a.m. Your total bond is $17,000. And I've appointed you a lawyer, okay? All right, sir? Do you have any questions about anything from me?
No, sir.
All right, I believe that's all I have for you, sir. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, deputies, if you would just give me 1 moment, but we should be off jots completely. And the first up should be Mr. Oh, actually, give me 1 second.
No problem, Your Honor.
My radio.
All right, so I'm showing the only thing that should be left are off God's people and then my Mr. Hammond and our fugitive. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right, so first up, we'll do Mr. Austin.
Austin.
He was the gentleman they added, and then after him will be Eric Blake.
You put your name.
All right, are you Mr. Austin?
Yes.
So, Mr. Austin, you were charged with, you had two charges here, sir. The first was battery family violence. The second was criminal trespass. The bond amount for the family violence is $3,500. The bond amount for the trespass is $2,500. You do have special conditions, sir, and that's to stay away from the alleged victim, Miss Fontelia Arnold. You'd have no contact with her or anyone who knows her directly to communicate to her. You're not to have any contact with her through social media, through letters, text, email of any kind. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You're also to stay away from the address of 3801 Charlotte Drive. And so, as I said earlier, if that's somewhere where you live or used to live prior to this incident happening, please get with the sheriff's office upon your release, and they will assist you in getting any items that belong to you, okay?
Sir.
Now, the last question I have for you is this. Because you were charged with misdemeanors, you have a right to a preliminary hearing that I mentioned earlier, or you have a right to waive that hearing, and I can send your case on up to the prosecutor a little quicker. What would you like to do, sir? Would you like to have that hearing or waive that hearing?
I would like to have that hearing.
All right, sir. So I'm going to set that hearing date for you. That hearing date is going to be March 12th, and that's going to be at 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom. So should you not make your bond, March 12th, 8:30 a.m. via Zoom will be your next court date, okay?
Thank you, sir.
All right, good luck to you. All right, after Mr. Blake, Eric Blake, I have Rashad Bland. Are you Mr. Blake?
Yes, sir. Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Mr. Blake, you're charged with one count of theft of services. Your bond amount is $3,500, sir. Because you were, I'm sorry?
Yeah, you had a glitch in it. How much is it?
$3,500.
Uh-huh.
Now, because this is a felony, sir, your next court date, if you don't make your bond, Mr. Blake, is going to be March 6th, and that's going to be at 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom, okay?
Yeah, so the bond's $3,500 though.
Yes, sir, $3,500. Next court date's 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom, okay?
Okay.
Do you have any questions about anything for me, Mr. Blake?
Yes, sir, I do. Yes, sir. If you look over my, could you read the warrant to me, sir?
In terms of, okay, sure. So you're charged with one count of theft by services, sir, and they're alleging that you obtained mechanical services on a Chevy Tahoe from King Automotive Repair and Collision without paying for it.
Sir, my car's not even.
Okay. Hold on, Mr. Blake. You don't want to go into that. I read the warrant for you, but you don't want to go. You want to tell your attorney that, okay?
Okay, yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, good luck to you. Next up should be Mr. Bland, and after Mr. Bland, Ramonzo Brown and Rashad Fagan. Ramonzo Brown and Rashad Fagan will be next. Are you Bland?
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Bland. Mr. Bland, you are charged with one count of crossing the guard line. Your bond amount is $2,500, okay?
Sir.
Now, sir, because you were charged with a felony, I am going to give you your next court date. Your next court date, sir, should you not make your bond, is going to be March 6th of 2024, and that's going to be at 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom, okay?
Sir.
Now, since you are not working as well, I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer this morning that's going to assist you on your case. Do you understand that?
Sir.
All right, sir. Do you have any questions for me about anything?
So if I make bond today, I can leave today.
As long as you don't have any other holds for anything, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, good luck to you. Again, Ramonzo Brown, Rashad Fagan, and then Jacoby Frazier. Are you Mr. Brown?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Brown, you're charged with one count of pandering and prostitution for a bond amount of $2,000, and one count of criminal trespass, also for a bond amount of $2,000. And so your total bond, sir, is $4,000, okay?
Sir.
Now, since you're not working, I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer who can help assist you on your case. The last thing I have for you, sir, is the preliminary hearing that I spoke about earlier. Would you like to have your hearing or waive your hearing?
Waive it.
All right. So, sir, I'm going to show here that you have asked that I waive your right to your preliminary hearing. So the deputies are going to have a piece of paper for you to sign. And once you sign that paper, sir, that's all I got for you. Thank you. All right. All right, are you, Mr. Fagan?
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Fagan, you're charged with one count of theft by taking, sir. According to the information I have here, sir, I'm showing that you're currently on probation out of Fulton County. And as a result of that, sir, I do not have the authority to grant you bond or review your bond. So I'm going to give you two court dates here. Your court dates are going to be March 6th of 2024 and then March 8th of 2024. The first court date is going to be your preliminary hearing. The second is going to be your bond hearing, where they can review your bond to determine if you qualify for a bond at a later time. But as of today, you're on a no bond status because I'm showing that you're currently on probation out of Fulton County. Do you understand that?
Yes, can you read me my warrant, the incident date?
Check with CO.
Yes, sir, I can tell you the incident date here, sir. The incident date is June 1st of last year, 2023.
Sir, that's why I was trying to see if the
You don't want to go into deep. Don't talk to me about it.
in the details. I'm just trying to tell you that I was incarcerated.
Okay, listen, that's what I'm telling you. Don't do that because you're creating a record. Tell that to your attorney, okay? If it turns out that that's incorrect or it's not you at all, they'll correct that for you, okay?
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Should be Jacoby Frazier and then Gregory Kelly will be next. Are you Mr. Frazier?
Yes, sir.
All right, so Mr. Frazier, you were charged with one count of theft by receipt of stolen property. Your bond amount is $2,000 and one count of speeding. Your bond amount is $2,500 for a total of $4,500. Do you understand that, sir? I'm sorry?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Now, because you are charged here with one count of a felony, if you don't make your bond, sir, your next court date is going to be March 6th at 8:30 a.m. And that's going to be via Zoom if you don't make your next court date, okay? Now, because of some information you provided, I have gone ahead and appointed you a court-appointed lawyer to help you. So you'll get a lawyer free of charge on your case, okay?
Appreciate you.
All right, good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
After Mr. Kelly will be,
No.
I believe it's Deshaun Jackson and Jalen Level.
Yeah. Straight down the hall.
Are you Mr. Kelly?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Kelly, you were charged with one count of theft by taking. Your bond amount, sir, is $2,000. This is a misdemeanor charge, sir. So you do have a right to a preliminary hearing, or you can waive that right to that hearing. What would you like to do? Would you like to have that hearing or waive that hearing?
I'll wait.
All right, so I'm going to show that you're waiving that hearing. Your bond is $2,000. You have waived your hearing. Based on the information you provided, sir, I am going to appoint you a court-appointed lawyer this morning. So you will have a lawyer that will be able to assist you on your case, okay? All right, so the deputies, sir, they're going to have a piece of paper for you to sign, the waiver form. And once you sign that, we're good to go. Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
So it should be Mr. Jackson. Are you Mr. Jackson? Mr. Jackson, you're charged with one count of simple assault. I was reviewing the information that we have here on you, sir, and I'm showing that you are currently on probation for felony out of Bibb County, sir. So as a result of that, I do not have the authority to grant you a bond. So I'm going to give you two court dates here. The first court date, sir, is going to be, I'm going to give you your court date for your bond hearing is going to be March 8th of 2024, and that's going to be at 8:30 a.m. And that's going to be via Zoom, okay? Do you hear that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that's going to be for your bond hearing because I could not give you bond. Your other date is going to be your preliminary hearing date, and that's going to be March 6th at 8:30 a.m. And that's also going to be via Zoom. So you're charged with one count of misdemeanor simple assault. I am not allowed to grant you bond. You'll have a preliminary hearing date on March 6th. You'll have a Superior Court bond hearing date of March 8th, okay? And you'll have a court-appointed lawyer free of charge. Do you understand that? Do you understand, sir?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions about anything?
Yes, sir.
All right, good luck to you, sir.
Straight down the hall, last going right.
All right, give me 1 second, sir. I'll be right with you. And are you Mr. Level?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I am.
All right, so Mr. Level, you were charged with 1 count of criminal trespass, sir. I've reviewed your criminal history here and the information we have against you. I am going to release you this morning, sir. Now, let me be clear, sir. That does not mean that your case is closed, okay? You're gonna still have a case, it's still gonna be moving forward. But as of today, you're gonna be allowed to go home, okay? Do you understand that?
Sir.
I'm gonna release you today. Okay?
Sir.
All right. Now, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna set your next court date, so. Well, actually, because I'm letting you go, you're waiving your right to that preliminary hearing. So listen, I need to make sure you understand what's happening today. I'm letting you go, so that means when you get out of here today, before you leave, make sure that whatever address you can get your mail at, that you leave it here with the sheriff's office, with the police, okay? Because you're gonna get released today, you're gonna go home, and so we need to know where to send your next court date in the mail, okay? All right, the only other thing I need to tell you, Mr. Levels, there's gonna be a piece of paper that those deputies will need you to sign. When they hand it to you, you go ahead and sign that paper, okay? All right, do you have any questions for me, sir? All right, good luck to you. Next up should be Jeremiah Paris, and after Mr. Paris should be Jesse Rogers.
Rogers next.
Paris, then Rogers.
No, he's how he last.
All right, are you Mr. Paris?
Yes, sir.
All right, so Mr. Paris, you are charged with 1 count of terroristic threats and 1 count of reckless conduct, sir. Your bond amount for the terroristic threats is $5,000. Your bond amount for the reckless conduct is $2,500 for a total of $7,500. You do have special conditions, sir, and that's to stay away from the alleged victim, Ashanti Smalls. Do you understand that? The individual you are alleged to be involved in this argument with, I believe he lived in that same complex.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So if you make your bond, please understand you're gonna have to stay away from that particular individual. Now, based on the information you provided me, I am gonna grant you a court-appointed lawyer, so that's gonna be free of charge to you, okay? Now, should you not make your bond, your next court date is gonna be March 6th at 8:30 a.m., and that's gonna be via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Got it.
Again, that's March 6th, that's 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Your bond amount is $7,500. Do you have any other questions for me, sir?
No questions.
All right, I believe that's all I have for you, sir.
Go.
And after Mr. Rogers should be Shannon Reagan. Rogers, then Reagan.
That's Rogers? Yes.
Rogers, then Rogers, Reagan, and then Walker, Mario Walker. All right, are you Mr. Rogers?
Yes, sir. I'm with the Virginia DA's office. DOD sent me down here to look at the airport.
Let the judge talk.
Okay, sir. Sir, you're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass, sir. Based on the information I have, sir, I am gonna release you today. Hold on, sir. I am gonna release you today. However, I need you to understand, you are not to return to the Atlanta airport unless you are there for work or to travel. Do you understand that?
Now I got 5 tickets in the computer there. And
Okay, but right now, all I have is 1. So right now, I'm releasing you on the one that I have, but you are not to return to that airport unless you are there for work or for travel. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
How much are you making per month, sir?
Man, they ain't paid me shit. They've been paying me in abandoned houses. Is how the
Okay.
government's been paying me that
Okay,
I possess.
okay, so hold on. So
You
I
wouldn't
am gonna,
believe what the
hold
shit they
on.
make me do, y'all.
Okay, so I am gonna go ahead. I'm gonna appoint you a court-appointed lawyer that'll help you free of charge. Now, do you want to have your preliminary hearing, sir, or do you want to waive your hearing?
I don't know the difference here in Georgia. In
All
Florida,
right.
I know. What's the
So
difference?
I'm gonna, I mean, there really is none, but let me go ahead and just set that hearing for you. It's gonna be March 12th at 8:30 a.m. and that's gonna be via Zoom, okay? So if you don't make your bond, your next court date will be March 12th, 8:30 a.m. and that'll be via Zoom. Do you understand?
Yes, sir, but I'm being released, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good luck to you, sir.
That's right.
Next up should be Reagan and then Walker.
Reagan.
Reagan and then Walker.
No, he's not active, Your Honor. I believe that will be a B&B person. He's not active on the first
That's
appearance.
not Reagan.
Are you showing that he was released?
We're showing him as not active, Your Honor.
Oh, okay. So what is that because he bonded out, I guess?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. So I guess you should, other than Mr. Hammond and the young female, it should be just Mr. Walker then.
Yes, that is correct, Your Honor.
All right. Are you Mr. Walker? So Mr. Walker, you're charged with one count of failing to register as a sex offender. Your bond amount, sir, is $5,000. Now, because you are charged with a felony, sir, your next court date, should you not make your bond, is going to be March 6th of 2024, and that's going to be at 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom. I also am going to appoint you a court-appointed lawyer, and I'm going to do so free of charge. Do you understand that? All right, sir. I believe that's all I have for you, sir. Good luck to you. All right. If you all want to bring out, I guess the female first, and then we'll do Miss Hammond. So Miss Wright first, and then Mr. Hammond Williams.
Yes, Your Honor.
Hey, call for.
I got it.
I can open it.
That's what, come on. That guy.
Right.
All right. Are you Miss Wright?
Yes, sir.
All right. So Miss Wright, obviously, I don't know if you're aware or not yet, but you came in because you were picked up on an outstanding warrant from Broward County in Fort Lauderdale in the state of Florida. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And so, of course, at this point, because you are considered a fugitive from justice, I am not allowed to grant you bond. So your bond has been denied, of course. I am going to appoint you a lawyer if you so need one for what we're about to talk about.
I don't.
So as a fugitive from justice, ma'am, here's where we are. There is an outstanding warrant against you in the state of Florida, and you have a couple of options. Option one would be you tell me, Judge, I want you to go ahead, let the state of Florida know that I'm ready to go back, to be extradited back, where I will handle these charges. They'll, I'll either plead guilty, go to trial, or have them dismissed. Okay, that's option one. Option two would be you tell me, Judge, I can't talk to you about whether or not I'm guilty, but what I would like to do is fight the process, the procedure that they use. Maybe they didn't do something right in this procedure in order to take me back to Florida. And if you tell me that, then what'll happen is I'll say, okay, you want to fight this procedure. That usually can take up to 60 days to do so. And if they don't come and they don't have the hearing where you fight the procedure, they do get an additional 30 days to try to, so you could end up sitting here for a total of about 3 months, waiting to have your hearing to fight the procedure. Okay. And if that doesn't happen, then you can be dismissed. So option one, again, send you back to Florida in 30 days. And if they don't come get you, you're dismissed and we'll release you. Option two would be you say, Judge, I want to fight the procedure they used, and you would sit there until they come within the next 90 days. How would you like to proceed, Ms. Wright?
I'm gonna waive my extradition.
Okay. All right, so Ms. Wright, I'm going to show that you're waiving. They're going to have about 6 documents that you're going to sign. And once you sign those documents, I will sign them as well. They'll be sent to me. And then that's all for you, man.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, and then I believe that should be just Mr. Hammond.
Who is gonna take the back? That's it. Yes, she's going back. One. No, he already. Come on,
So tomorrow, we're on the same page, right? Just more going to get home.
Right, man.
This is Mr. Hammond Andrew.
All right. Mr. Hammond, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so Mr. Hammond, you are charged with 1 count of obstruction of an officer, 1 count of a removal of a weapon belonging to a public officer, and 1 count of simple battery. Do you understand that, sir?
No, I.
Okay. Now, let me say this, with those charges here, sir, I need to go over a few things with you regarding them. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. I need you to understand that your bond amount, Mr. Hammond, for those charges for the obstruction of an officer, is going to be $2,500. For the removal of a weapon, your bond amount is going to be $10,000. And for the simple battery against an officer, your bond amount is going to be $5,000. And so your total bond, sir, is $17,500. Do you understand that? Okay. Now, Mr. Hammond, I'm gonna appoint you a lawyer free of charge. And so if you need help on your case, they're gonna be able to help you on your case, okay?
Okay, and,
Now, the last thing I need to tell you, Mr. Hammond, is your next court date is going to be March 6th of 2024 at 8:30 a.m. And that's gonna be via Zoom. Again, that's March 6th, 2024, 8:30 a.m. And that's gonna be via Zoom. And your bond amount is $17,500. You got it?
yeah.
All right, sir. That's all I have for you, sir. Good luck to you.
Can I ask you a couple questions?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
The jail told me I was lost from the computer or something, so I haven't been able to post bond or use the phone. Cause I don't have my PIN number doesn't work, I don't have it anymore. And, like, I don't know how to post bond or call my family or anything.
Well, until now, you didn't have a bond. So now, I've given you your bond amount here today. So you should be able to make contact with your family if you need their assistance in trying to make your bond. Oh, okay. Does that answer your question? Okay, Mr. Hammond?
Yes, sir, he's good.
Okay. All right. Good luck to you all. Thank you, Deputy.
Thank you, sir. Enjoy your day.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.